I think we're ready to go get them now. Well, we have arrived. So, you know, one of my favorite things is while we're on our way to just spend a nice passive day on the lake out ice fishing. Just listen to just straight, most like just violent, messed up rap music. Like nothing gets you energized for a day on the lake like that. But we're here, we're up at the camp, and we're gonna be shooting out and ice fishing for some lake trout. We have got our boy Jaron with us.
What up, everyone?
And we're gonna go smack some lake trout. I got the luxury ice house. I'm gonna give you guys a tour of that and hopefully stick some salmon. So it's gonna be a really cool day. We might have to move it. It might be sketchy with some of the ridges. The lake has been really scary this season, so it's gonna be a really cool day. So I'm excited to show you guys around, but let's go get it. This is where the fun begins. You guys will recognize this beauty from past experiences. And you know what? She still lives. She still lives. Shack. If you don't have the key to the ice shack, you don't get into the ice shack. And what's the fun of an ice shack if you're not in the ice shack? I like to run my good old trusty jack traps, and we are currently setting up right up here in the ridge here, for the reason being that my auger is not doing too well. The blades are dull, it's an underpowered drill, it's just not a good combo. So you find a ridge where the ice is much thinner, and you just chisel open the hole, and it makes for a much easier day. So I run 6 to 8 pound fluorocarbon, and generally I prefer smelt, but there has been a smelt shortage lately, so I'm just running some smaller shiners, and we're gonna see if we can pick up some a beautiful salmon here while we are chasing lake trout. It's a cool way to multi-species fish, where you jig for lake trout and you set lines for salmon. I'm gonna drop about a leader length. This is the short leader for me, but down under the ice here. I already chipped this hole open, and got her set right here, and it's cool because it's just a cool spot to fish. Now, you do have to be careful because the ice is often very much not safe next to these ridges if you ever do choose to do this, but I know the ice pretty well. I can tell I'm on a solid sheet right up to the edge. Just in the middle, you can pop out easy, so good way to set them. Alright, so we have now got all of our salmon lines set. We've got 4 out, which the legal limit's 5. And then we'll be jigging for lake trout inside the little ice house here. This is my custom build. I'll give you guys a tour of it in a minute. But we're going to get set up, get her cleaned out, maybe catch a lake trout, and we'll give you guys the tour. So, let's go. Alright, so here we are, and I'm rigging up my flasher. Now, the battery that came with the Markham got shot. Why? I'm not sure, but we got a cool setup. So here's the same power rigging that I have had in a previous winter camping video. And it's a pretty cool little twist up, so all I gotta do is take this wire, and you put some of it in the negative, which will stick to the negative on the battery, where I'll just clip it right in with the other stuff here. And it's kind of like magic. And then you hook the positive, of course, in with the positive. And just like magic, you pull out the old trusty Markham. And she's running like men. Running like new. So no fancy battery hookup needed, or new battery. You just gotta get a little creative with it. And for someone that is not being a mobile fisherman, I'm just fishing out of this ice shack right now because the lake trout, they come to you, they're constantly cruising fish, they don't stay still. So you don't need to move. So I get to hang out in here, and the Markham for the winter is just running off the big battery since there's no need to even bother getting a new one. Plus, it's just less stuff to worry about, less stuff to charge because it's the one big battery. So it works out well, but let's get set up and actually fish. No, my lollipop. Not my lollipop. Oh, I got another lollipop. And for those of you that don't know, just to have a quick rundown. So for a flasher, if you happen to be new to ice fishing, the way one of these units works is it has a reading from the top all the way down to the bottom, and it's going to pick up the bottom as a hard red mark right there. And if you catch anything in between, then any other marks. So I've got a little frostbite rod, sienna, and a hand-tied ice fly, which is what I've been crushing it on lately. And if you drop this down, you'll start to see my jig on here, which I might have to turn it up a little bit. We got some interference from Jaron's flasher, but we drop it down enough, and I can assure you, we will see it. There it is. So you see that mark that's flickering up and down? That is my lure, and it's reading that. But it's just tough to balance it so you can see the lure well, and also not pick up the interference of the other flasher that uses some of the same frequencies. But yeah, that's probably just about how one of these units works. And gets my lure down there now. You'll see a mark right there. That is a trout. So then once I mark it, I'm going to start reeling up, and the trout is going to chase it. And then about 3, 2, 1, and I've got the trout. So it's a fairly simple way to fish. This is a small trout, but they say, oh, and he popped off. That's okay. There's more coming. So yeah, it's a nice spot out here. The fishing's good. That's first drop. Just trying to explain the unit. So figure we're going to run into some fish. So yeah, let's keep going. We're looking good. That's a fish right there. Now I'm waiting for it to move because it's sitting there. It might be distracted, or it might have. This likely is the same fish that just got hooked. Oh, there's 2 fish. So at that, when there's 2, I'll always catch it. So 3, 2, 1. Oh, this one will come back. He's small. He's hungry. I'm gonna drop down right in front of him. Then I'm gonna pick it up, and now he's gonna chase again. And 3, 2, 1. And it's a small fish. I just pulled it out of its mouth, so I'm not too worried about that fact. But since it's a small fish, they're not afraid of coming back to get their food. So we're gonna get him this time. And it takes a really small fish to come back this many times, but he wants it really bad. He wants it really bad. So we're just gonna keep reeling. He's chasing it. This is just like a smelt swimming away from him. But once it reaches about between 20 and 30 feet below the ice, they generally, I don't know if it's a water pressure change or what, but then they'll turn away and swim back down. So if they don't hit by a certain point under the ice, then you're not catching them. But we're still seeing, oh no, he's still right there. Come on. He'll come back. If he's still around at this point, then he is hungry. But I don't know. This is a weird fish. I mean, I pulled it out of his mouth about 4 times. Generally, you don't see that happening that much. But I'm gonna get him. Well, I just hooked one. It came out of nowhere. They come in and hit really quick. It's a small one. It's okay that we missed the eat, because I have a feeling we're gonna see some more fish. Actually, if I had to guess, it's probably like a 16-incher. It doesn't feel huge, but don't feel too bad. So I mean, I will graciously accept any trout that wants to come into my hole. That's a little guy. Little trout, but they're still fun. Good little laker. Not what we're looking for, but there is more fish on the screen, so you can see they munch that little ice fly. So this is just a baby. There's a overpopulation of these size trout in the lake this year. And generally I don't like these fish touching the floor, but since it's wet, it doesn't really hurt them. So we're gonna let this thing go, and we're gonna go and try to catch the next one on there. So when my line gets here, you'll see this line go up, and they will meet about right here, and I'll hook it here. That is my guess. That is my theory. If that fish is still there. Oh, and he's coming up. Ready? I'm gonna start reeling away. 3, 2. Come on. There it is. That is number 2 on the board. Well, I can't say that till it's out of the water. It's another similar sized lake trout. There's been a huge population boom in this lake, so the average of fish has gone down, but the numbers has been great. But as someone that prefers to be a trophy fisherman, it's not ideal to be catching a bunch of baby lake trout, but it is, oh my goodness, pretty fun to just crank on fish. But there were years where I could catch fish like this, and they'd be 20 inches long on average. So that's another, just to see if I can get you guys a pretty shot of this thing. These fish don't like to stay still, but these are some, if I pinch the tail right, some very beautiful trout. You want to get a pretty shot of it swimming away? Or not? Don't.
1 hour later.
Well, we've been chilling here for a little while. The fishing has been very slow. I put on that little jig. I've been fishing for a minute. I don't even think I've marked a fish. It's been well over an hour. So, figure this is a good time to set the rod down. If a fish comes in, it'll grab the jig. Plus, me moving around the shack probably will move the rod enough that we should get a bite. But I figure this is a good time to give you guys a full kind of rundown on the shack setup we've got in here. So, we start with the beautiful cot that I originally put in here temporarily. Now it's really comfortable. So, I just give kind of a tour of what we've got and then how I made it. So, we've got 3 holes across the front. I'm covering these 2 right now because we don't need the cold air blowing in. Generally, I like to pack snow around the ice shack, but this winter there's no snow on the ice at all. And we come up to the TV where we're listening to Lil TJ calling my phone. We were also listening to some just fire Lil Dicky freestyles. If you know, you know. Those things are good. Then we come over to our power setup where under the table we have got the battery running to the flasher and the TV, as you guys saw. Heater running over here off the big tank. I like the metal cables because I had melted those and blown myself up with the rubber ones before. Little trash bucket, pile of jackets. I need to put a coat hanger up. But
oh yeah, I love that.
I do not have a coat hanger currently, so that doesn't do us anything. We've got the table. I rebuilt this, fully painted it. This whole shack I built from the ground up. Or the walls are Luan, just painted up, and then it's all trimmed out. Everything's kind of warped around a little bit since it's settled in. I've got a lot of finishing work to do in here. But all in all, I'm really happy with it. We got a roll-out linoleum flooring, but it looks like wood, so I'm really happy with how it came out. It's a pretty sweet setup since the lake trout, like I said before, they're constantly moving. They're coming in waves, and when they push up on the hump, it's to feed. So if you're chasing them around, you might mark fish, but you're generally not going to get the bites. So we are figuring things out a little bit. I just ran back on the snowmobile to shore, then I swapped out the side-by-side because this is going to be easier for hauling the shack around. And I then buzzed over and checked one boat launch that happened to have it looked really clean at first. It looked like a smooth track right up until I saw the ice sheet was just pushed up enough. There was about this much of a drop down to the ground. And if I had that thing on the skis, it would probably stand straight up on its end if I took it over that. And if I had it on the trailer, it would probably tip the trailer over just because it's too much of a drop. And I don't really have an effective way to build a ramp to go over that at the moment for a whole trailer, and even just the ice shack. I mean, you don't want to have a chance at it slipping out. So we are going to run down to the far end of the lake and see the other launch and what that looks like, and consider all our options for getting the shack off the lake. If I have to leave it, I can. The weather's going to be a little bit warm, which I would prefer not to have to leave it. But if it's staying, then I'm not pulling it over anywhere tonight. So we're gonna go check things out, and we'll update you guys at boat launch. Off we go! We have encountered our first ridge of the journey back. This looks to be an older ridge, but the last thing you want to do is just fly over a ridge without knowing what you're looking at. I mean, you can see there's one way up there that's much bigger, but I just like to play it safe, play it careful. So you always want to check first. So I'm going to go grab the side by side and run it right on over here. What is this? I can't drive across this. I'm gonna have to run down a little ways because this is a little bit more significant than that last one. I can tell the ice is very thick right up to the edge, but I mean, it's broken up, so even if it's thick, it's not all safe. I mean, looks we're in like melting Greenland. I can't deal with this. That's literally right there. I could do the polar plunge, I could fit in here. I mean, look at this. I could fit inside of this crack. What is this? That would also crush me. So like, nah. I am not taking side by side over this anytime soon. We're gonna go and try to find somewhere that is a safe crossing point, but we are not there yet. So we're gonna keep riding along. See you guys in a second. That ain't nothing on that piece that just broke off. That's rough. Give it a kick. Come on. Like you mean it. I don't know if you guys realize, like, that's as tall as me. That is, okay, I'm not that short, but like, this is crazy. I wonder if I can knock it over. That is one wicked ice show. Now, I'm just playing with fire. I'm gonna hurt myself, but that is insane. You imagine, okay, if you ever want to see God, to see the light, hit that at 120 on a snowmobile, and you will ascend. That is an insane piece of ice. I just had to stop and check that out. Whew. So we're not getting any closer to a spot cross, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't entertained. Alright, so we now have made it to the far shore, and it is as sketchy here as it was anywhere. I see some people have crossed it with their snowmobiles. I don't really know how. I would have probably gone to Davy Jones Locker if I'd given that a shot. But yeah, so we ain't looking too good, so we're gonna run back, meet up with Jaron, make a new plan. Probably gonna have to leave the shack, but we're gonna figure it out. I will see you guys back over there, I guess. Alright, so we just rolled back at the ice shack. There's no choice to run it to the south end of the lake to the other launch, as that ridge would sink me, my ice shack, my everything, my everything. And to the north, there's no access off the lake, and at the other boat launch, the ice is pushed up, so it's about this high, if not that high, and I would bottom out the trailer and literally flip the ice shack off of it, guaranteed. It's that bad. And then at the camp, there's so much ice piled up that at the moment there's no way I could take it across. Plus side is that the ice up towards shore is all very solid. It's just where it's on shore that is bad. But with the warmer weather coming, that's going to melt down, and I can bring up a group of people with some chainsaws and we can get it cleaned out right on out. So give it a week or so and I'll be pulling the shack off. It's a little change of pace. I'd like to have been able to move it around, but right now the safest bet is to leave it right where it is. So a little side mission was a fail, but it's still cool seeing the way the ice forms. I haven't seen a ridge like that out here in a long time. It's been a really interesting winter. But nothing too crazy today. Good to get some fish and just show you guys kind of what a day is out here, just playing around with the shack and keeping everything up and going. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. They look wonderful on camera.
Beautiful, stunning.